Containers are one of the most important design elements of any indoor garden. However, glazed containers can be quite expensive, and terracotta isn't particularly interesting. On top of that, it's not super durable and tends to break easily. So my idea, which I'm sure has been done before, is simply to take a terracotta pot and paint it over with some acrylic paint. Then afterwards, I'll cover it in this glossy finish which I found for sale at the grocery store. For my first attempt, I decided just to keep it simple with black and white paint. This is because I'm not the best artist, and I figured black and white would be a lot easier to work with. For this first planter, I just covered it in a layer of matte white acrylic paint. Next, I just decided to start making random brushstrokes in black, going for kind of a natural, maybe tree aesthetic. In the end, I decided I didn't really like this, and eventually I just painted over everything in black and started over. This ended up being a good thing since the white layer that I first put on wasn't thick enough, even though I put 2 or 3 coats on. For the second design, I just went for a tree in white. At the end, because I decided it needed leaves, which was probably a mistake, I added these little dot things because I'd seen this in an art style before, but it didn't turn out super good. It wasn't terrible though. And then to finish off the design, I painted the rim in just a couple coats of white. However, in hindsight, I probably should have put a few more in because, as you'll see later, the terracotta does still show through this. For the second planter, I started the same way, but since for the first planter I ended up going with a black pot with a white design, for this one I decided to do the opposite, a white pot with a black design. I ended up messing up a little and added these weird drip things to this island with a palm tree on it, which at the time I thought looked pretty bad, but from a distance it looks decent, so I just went with it. I then coated the planters in that acrylic glaze, and then did absolutely nothing with them for 2 years. That was in 2020, and it's now 2023. And while this definitely wasn't the intention, and I just didn't get around to doing anything with this video, I do think it worked out in the end because instead of showing you a shot of just the finished product, which wouldn't be very useful if you want to try this for yourself, I can show you how well the pots actually hold up to the regular wear and tear of holding houseplants. From this video of the second pot, you can see that it's held up pretty well. On the white portions, you can see some cracking that's probably due from moisture being drawn out of the acrylic. As the acrylic shrunk, I imagine that because of the curvature of the pot, it probably cracked a lot more than what you'd see on canvas. Overall, I'd say it looks pretty good. It just needs a little bit of cleanup and it should be looking great. However, I can't say the same for the purple dragon fruit which I have planted inside. The second planter I think did much better. It had a much thicker coat of acrylic since I painted over the white after making the mistake, and on top of that, the black doesn't seem to show cracks nearly as much as the white paint. However, as you can see, the silver squill I had planted in this pot isn't doing nearly as well, which is unfortunate, although it should recover with just a little bit more water. It probably also needs to be repotted and cleaned up a little. Overall, I'd say this project was a success, although It's unfortunate that it took me 2 years to get it all edited and out on this YouTube channel. I'm hoping soon I'll have some more projects ready, and maybe some stuff that's not related to plants even. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.